My name is Yacouba Congo, and I'm from Burkina Faso, a West African country with hot climate. I came to the United States at the end of 2009, around 9 or 10 p.m. It was a beautiful night, and I enjoyed the view of the city lights when we were landing. However, I dislike the cold weather. It snowed that day, and coming from a country with hot weather, landing into a cold weather was anything but fun.
I came to the US when I was 16 years old, and that was on July 3rd, 2012. The experience has been very emotional and eye opening because I left my mom and my sisters in the Dominican Republic and I came to the US to live with my dad. The whole experience was very uncertain because my parents divorced when I was 3 years old, and I have never actually lived with my dad in the same house. And by the time that I was gonna come here, we had around 7 years without seeing each other. So I was very afraid of the whole situation. I thought it was going to be awkward. But since I'm his only child, I think it worked out for the best of us since we hadn't actually bond for a long time.
I had a good first impression about my neighborhood in the Bronx. Matter of fact, it is still my neighborhood. People are nice. There are plenty of stores, banks, laundromats, supermarkets, and the train D and 4 are close by. So no need to walk many blocks to get what you need. Also, I found Times Square amazing when I visited it for the first time. Tall buildings, bright lights, beautiful movie theaters. It was really amazing and exciting.
When I came to the JFK airport, it was amazing. Like, I was seeing so many people from all over the world. And at the same time, the air smells so good. And it was different from the Dominican Republic. I'm not sure if it's because of pollution, but the smell was very different. I will say that. Also, I was seeing so many different races at once, since in the Dominican Republic, you have, all different colors, but we all kind of look the same. But here at the airport, I was seeing Asians and Middle Eastern, other races that I wasn't really used to that. So that was very impressive for me. Also, since I came on July 3rd, we went to see the Macy's parade, the fireworks show on July 4th. And that was also fantastic. That was the biggest fireworks show that I've seen in my life. So I was very amazed about that. I got to visit Times Square and other places downtown that I wanted to see. Also, another good experience that I would remember from my first days here, when I went to see the Statue of Liberty, and also when I went to see the 9/11 Memorial. Those two trips, they were actually field trips from my high school. I loved them because they brought so much history and so much heart from this city that I was living in. So I thought that was very important for me to feel that I belong here and that I'm welcome and that I can actually speak about me living in New York.
The big elephant in the room, or culture shock, was the individualism in the United States. I came from a collectivist country, and individualism to me was something completely new. Like living by myself, doing everything by myself, having to count only on myself are difficult things to adapt, especially when you don't speak the language. Speaking of language, English was a barrier to my integration, like making friends. It was difficult to make friends because when I speak, they don't understand me, and when they speak, I don't understand them either. Language was also an obstacle when I tried to get a job because Most of the managers that I approached told me that they wanted someone who speaks English. It wasn't easy to find a job. My first job was security guard, a position that didn't require much English but helped me to improve my English when speaking to my coworkers. I've experienced some difficulties in my daily routine, like riding the train, making sure that I'm on the right direction, and also making sure that I don't skip my stop. Food also was a big deal because I used to eat a home cooked meal with my parents. But in the United States, I have to buy food that I don't enjoy and I have to eat alone.
Some of the barriers that I had was the language barrier. As you guys can see, I have a strong accent because my first language was actually Spanish. So in school, I would always avoid speaking out loud or to people. That had me in a very secluded place, I would say. I had just a few friends and they usually spoke Spanish because I was not ready to speak English. One of my professors actually forced me to because he based my grade for that class of public speaking. I was just so afraid of people laughing, which now that I look at it, I'm like, whatever. But back then, especially when you come from a good background in school, like I used to have all A's and being like in honors, and then you come here and you don't know how to do stuff and how to do your homework by yourself. It's very frustrating. I used to call my mom all the time crying and just take me back. Like, I don't want to be here. This is too hard. But I would say the second barrier was when I got my first job here in the city. I got my first job as a host at Uno's. That was on 79th Street. And that job really taught me a lot. I was there with two other girls. And I remember that one method that I was doing in the beginning because I didn't want them to laugh, that I didn't know certain things. I would ask them, where is the high chair or where is the booth? Instead of asking them, what is a high chair or what is the booth?
My experience in the United States made me bicultural, which is a good thing because I'm taking part in the life of two cultures and I'm aware of cultures differences. Finally, I became independent with no close relative around. I went back to school, got a good job, and now I'm a US citizen.
What is the booth? As the takeaways, I want to tell people, don't give up. If you come here, it doesn't matter the age that you come or the situation that you're in. There is always a solution as long as you work for it, but you have to work for it. The language barrier is always going to be there for all of us as immigrants. There's always going to be something from your mother tongue that's going to stick with you. And I tell you, instead of you being afraid or embarrassed of that, like embrace it. That means you know you have a history, you come from a different background, and that's okay. You don't have to be American to succeed in America. You don't have to speak perfect English to be influential, to follow your dreams, and to achieve something.